Welcome, world. Seconds out, MMA, the best show out, Pub Sports Radio, MMA Locker Room right here. My co-host right next to me, MMA Unhinged. Lenny, how you doing out there, man?
Yeah, it's doing good over here in England. Yeah, the weather's not the best, but when is it the best over here in England? But we're getting on, we're soldiering on. But yeah, can't wait for the fights this weekend. Finally, the fights have returned, and none of are better than Abu Dhabi, the fight capital of the MMA right now. And it's a great fight that we have this weekend. And we've got a special guest coming on to the show, and he's an absolute killer of a fighter. I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, man, you said it right, man. UFC. We're back. I mean, hey, we took a little break. Like they said, too much of anything could go wrong for you or bad for you. But I don't believe it. So now we're back. They gave us a 3-week hiatus off. I got a little bit of cold feet, but I'm about to get that itch scratched this weekend. Not just that. We have back-to-back events. We got an event on Saturday early, then we got another event on Wednesday, then another event next Saturday, man. So we're definitely going to be in a blessed era to start off 2021, right?
Yeah, just think about the events that we're coming up in Abu Dhabi. We got this weekend we got Holloway versus Kattar, which is absolute. To even think about that fight is absolutely incredible. That's gonna be a fight between them two. And then we have Magny versus Chiesa, a main event. A quite short notice main event, but the boys stepped up, and it's a really good fight between them two. Really good stylistic matchup between that we have against Magny versus Chiesa. And then the big one to top it all off, UFC 257. We got Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, the rematch from 2014, 7 years later on, the rematch, and this is a pivotal main event. Whoever wins this fight could probably, go on to fight for a lightweight championship in the near future. And in the co-main event, we see that the not the return, but the debutant Michael Chandler coming from Bellator, making his UFC debut on UFC 257. It's a great night of fights at UFC 257. I can't wait. It's a great night of fights in Abu Dhabi, and I just can't wait to get excited with this weekend.
What a time to be alive. Yes, sir, man. So for everybody out there, man, make sure you tune in this Saturday for our live stream. It's going to be a party in there. We're back at it with the boys. We're going to have everybody in there. We're going to have Talking Hands. We're going to have Money Mo, Boston Nick, probably DFS by the numbers, Billy Briz, Danny Betts, MMA Unhinged, Die Hard MMA. You never know who's going to pop in. Might even be a fighter or two because everybody loves to get the fights in right on Saturday night. So, yeah, man, I just want to give everybody a little bit of time to click on. Appreciate everybody tuning in right now on this beautiful Wednesday morning, or should I say afternoon right now. We always like to do a timestamp on there. I'm on California time, so it's 10:45 right now on mine. Lenny, what time you got and where you at?
It's quite an early show for me, so I'm really excited for that. I'm not actually trying to stay awake in the show, but when I'm with Millz, I'm always alive. He's keeping me alive, keeping me energy. But it's currently 6:45 in the afternoon. I've never seen such a happier time in my life to be on the show. It's absolutely incredible. I'm usually sitting here talking to Millz about the fights at 4 o'clock in the morning, and at the moment it's 6:45 in the afternoon. I'm absolutely buzzing.
Yes, sir, man. Speaking about buzzing, it was a few fighters who had a great year in 2020. One of them had a 50K fight knockout of the night bonus. He also got to grab the belt, in another organization too, with LFA. Not just that, dreams came true and made it to the UFC. So with that being said, Lenny, you want to go ahead and introduce our special guest on Seconds Out Pub Sports Radio today, who we got in the backstage with us?
We got joining us the absolute killer in the bantamweight division, Adrian Yanez. He's a resurgent bantamweight fighter, coming off a brilliant head kick knockout versus Victor Rodriguez, and I'm so excited for him to join us right now. And here is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Adrian Yanez. How's it going?
Man, it's going pretty good, man. I'm just loving life and living it, man. It's fun. Man, how y'all doing?
Oh man, hey, I'm with you, man. I like to say it like Max Holloway. We're just in a blessed era right now.
That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it.
So real quick, we like to do a little timestamp on there. What time is it right now? Where are you located at?
Houston, Texas, man. Right now it's 12:45. It's a perfect time for me. Just got out of training and everything, get the early session in. So, got one in the afternoon. So just right now, just resting. I had time. And, hey, man, might as well, let's go, man. Here in an interview. Let's talk.
Hell yeah, man. Let's talk, man. We here to talk fights. We're here to talk everything, man. So with that being said, you're just coming out of training right now. We know you got a fight coming up in March 20th. We'll get to that a little bit later and everything like that. So your training sessions right now, are you doing 2 days?
Yeah, pretty much like 3 days, man. I wake up in the morning, go hit a long run. Then after that, eat, rest, get up, go train at 10 a.m. Then after that, just eat, rest, do the same thing at 6 o'clock all the way to 9. So, man, just blessed, man. My last fight was a great one for me, man. I was able to quit my job and just do this full time, man. So this is exactly what it is: early mornings and late nights, man. So it's been a blessing to me, man. So I actually get to commit to full time training and actually put on better performances than what I've been doing.
So you quit that exact day, right? Was it before the fight? Was it after fight? You didn't send your 2 weeks notice, right?
Oh no, actually, I bet on myself. Like I was like, you know what? The week before, I was like thinking about it. It was just stressing me on my head because I'm just like, man, if I'm in the UFC, I should be doing this full time. Like I like the time of me training, dude, because I was like working 9 to 10 hours like a day. So I just was stressed out with training, fatigued and everything. So y'all didn't even get the best of me. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in, and then like the week before weigh-ins was my last day at work. So I was like, all right, cool. You know what? That's it. I'm quitting. I'm committing 100% full time to this. And you know what, man? It paid off, man. It paid off in great style.
Yeah, man, it definitely paid off, man. Speaking of paying off, I mean, we're just talk a little bit about your last fight real quick. I mean, you went into it and you did everything you said you was gonna do. Before the fight came out, you said, I want to get a knockout bonus, the 50K bonus. I want to do the McGregor walk after I knock him out and get that 50K bonus. You literally spoke it into existence before your fight happened, correct?
Oh yeah, man. Speak it into existence, man. It's just been one of those things that like I changed my whole mentality, man. Actually, I saw a couple of people in the chat saying, talk about the Miles fight. What I learned, man, it's all about mentality. My mentality changed, and I started speaking everything into existence. I stopped being so negative about myself, and I just started just honestly, just trusting the process that I've been in, and one of the biggest things for me too is like, if I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna go out there every single time. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do my damn best to make sure I do it. So that's exactly how it went, man. I love it.
Yeah, so you made your UFC debut, not UFC, MMA debut back in 2014. 7 years later, you're fighting on the big stage at UFC, the biggest stage that is in mixed martial arts at the moment. What's it been like to, as you've been getting older and having more fights in MMA? What's been like to see the sport of MMA evolve throughout the years?
Oh man, it's been great watching like it being evolved. Like I believe right now, if I was back like whenever I first started and I was at where I'm at like skill wise and how much I've evolved, I'd be running the show. I'd be champ right now. So it's evolved so much that even at the highest of levels, it's still not high enough. You still have to push harder and strive for a better you every single day. Like you never like the sport will always forever evolve and the fighters get better. The actual game gets better. It gets bigger and better, and you get like this big old thing called mixed martial arts because it's never going to stop evolving because there's always going to be something else added. And then also it kind of goes around full circle too. You get these people who are really masterclass in one general area. Like, you get like Khabib, who is so masterful at what he did. And like, you get like someone who just goes out there and just smashes all these guys. Like sometimes it's not about all being well-rounded. You can do one thing really, really good, and be average everything else. So, man, it's a weird thing because I love it though because you just never know what you're gonna get, and it's always amazing to prepare for that type of style of the fight.
Speaking of styles and fights, Jack Attack MMA in the live chat has a question for you. Which strikers have been most influential to your style?
Man, earlier in my career, I always liked the Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw type of style. You know, just always like moving, never had your feet, like never stay centered, always getting off the center line and keep on going. You know, TJ Dillashaw bit that style off of Dominic Cruz, but you know,
Facts.
still yeah. So whatever with him, but yeah, Dominic Cruz, and then also like now Max Holloway. You know how he comes in, he cuts these ankles. You know, he kind of fights like it's a. It's almost like like a little bit of a Marvin Hagler type, you know, switching in the stances, not being very predominant in like one stance. He likes to switch it and go both stances, but also cuts angles as he's switching. So I really like that. Also, man, like Jorge Masvidal, man, going back to all that stuff, and like if you really watch and sit down and watch his striking, man, he has some crisp boxing, and that like in MMA, those are guys who I look up to. You know, even Conor McGregor, man, I love how he strikes. He gets in and out of distance, and he's just constantly trying to look for the openings. You know, if, like it was so cool. Like in the first Dustin Poirier fight, how he wasn't landing his straight left, and he switched it up and looped it around. How he was shoulder rolling, how he was rolling, he was covering. You know, he looped it around and hit the side of his head and knocked him out. So that to me, that's cool. Like being able to place your punches and being able to get the knockouts like that, man. Just placing movement, not getting hit and hitting. So it's like that type of style like really excites me. I love watching that.
Yeah. Hey, Lenny, mate, why don't you go ahead and give Just My 2 Cents a special shout out because he just made a donation for Adrian Yanez being on Pub Sports Radio Seconds Out, and read out his comment in chat for him.
He said, "Sup, Adrian, big fan, dude. Thanks for this." And all of us on Pub Sports, Adrian, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I mean, when you're a UFC fighter, you don't get much spare time. And I thank you for taking, you know, the time to get in this interview and talk to the fans and us.
Yeah, man. No problem, man. I'd love to come back on anytime, man. I love this, man. I'll always make some time for this, man.
So real quick, Adrian, who was one of the first MMA fighters that you actually remember watching, or the first event to where, you know, and who was there? Like, were you in the backyard? Were you in the garage with the homies? Were you at a club, or were you at a live event? What's the one that you remember?
The one that really sticks out to me and actually like almost kind of got me into MMA was that Matt Hughes slamming down Carlos Newton for sure. That's like, and it wasn't even like watching the actual fight. I was watching the UFC like Ultimate Knockouts from back whenever it was on Spike TV and all that, man. I was at my grandfather's house whenever I was watching it, and I was like, I used to, man, I'll be 100% honest, man. I used to think MMA was like, you know, for the weirdos, man. Like seeing grown men in Valentino shorts, you know, almost like in underwear to me at the time, looked at it and I was like, this is kind of weird, man. I'd just rather just stick to watching boxing and everything. And then I saw the Ultimate Knockouts, and that like I had just changed it to that channel and then to Spike TV, and I just remember seeing Matt Hughes slam Carlos Newton, knocking him out. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I just started seeing all the other knockouts. And I was like, oh, you know what? This ain't that bad. This isn't what I thought it was. And you know, a couple years later, I ended up walking into my first MMA gym and started training.
There you go. I mean, and that career started in 2014. You went professional. Before that, you had some amateur fights, right?
Oh yeah, man, 6 amateur fights.
Hey, that was a good start right there, because a lot of people, they usually have like 1 or 2 amateur fights and turn pro.
Oh yeah, I was also like my first ever amateur fight was at 155 pounds. You know, I was a little hefty and like trying to drop down. So my first fight was 155. My next two fights were at my next 3 fights were at 145. And then after that, I finally dropped down to bantamweight, and I wanted to drop down to bantamweight, especially as an amateur, to see before I go pro, just see if I can make it. And you know, it was an easy process. Started being able to make that weight, so once I turned pro, I was at the right weight that I needed to be at. So it was, you know, it was a good learning process too. And then it's just one of those cool things as well. You know, you get a little bit more experience, you know, just to build up like being in the actual ring. You know, you get those guys who go one amateur fight or two amateur fights, and then they go pro, and then you see them fall off a little bit. You know, I wanted to hone my skills like before I went pro, and then after that, just still build on it. But I still wanted some skills to compete with those guys because whenever I was turning pro, there was a lot of guys who were black belts and brown and blacks in jiu-jitsu, and I was barely a purple belt. You know, to me at that time, like I would say if, you know, I guess like mid-level purple belt, but to go in there competing at 135 at the pro division, a lot of those guys were black belts and brown belts, and I was just like, I need to get my skills up. I need to work on this. So it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing to be an amateur and to go pro at the right time. You know, so it's one of those things. I genuinely believe that being an amateur and having a couple fights being an amateur is really good for you. Don't be that guy that just has one or two and then thinks they're good enough to go pro. Because, you know, I give those guys who like, at least like if you went to the Olympics and had like a couple amateur fights, then hey, dude, you have really good, like, you have a really good solid base that you'd be able to go off of. But these guys who just come in and they want to fight, they want to go pro, man, you got to build yourself up, man. You have to build yourself up and, you know, fight those fights, and then even fight those tough fights as an amateur. Because once you turn pro, you go back to 0-0. You're undefeated as a professional. So, you know, it matters, but also it doesn't matter. You just need your time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lenny.
Yeah, you put it perfectly there. Like the amateurs, like, you know, the baby stages when when you're first born, you're growing up, you kind of settling your feet, you know, working out, you know, what MMA is, what you kind of, you know, adjusting to like different kind of game plans, you know, seeing where you're good at. And then when you get to the pros, you said there, you're back to 0-0. That's where, you know, it kind of really matters. That's where you get to the big leads. And that's where you are in the UFC. You're 12-3 in your pro MMA career. But I've got to mention it. You're on a 5-fight winning streak at the moment. Your last loss was against Miles Johns back in 2018. And since then, you went on a 5-fight winning streak. What did you kind of learn from that fight to go on that 5-fight winning streak and, you know, turn it around?
Man, man, that fight, man, it was a weird one for me because like after the end of that fight, I remember looking at my coach and being like, I'm not tired. I should be exhausted right now. If I lost that fight, and like if I lost that fight, you know, I should be exhausted. I should have exhausted every single option that I had. I should be like throwing up back here. That's how exhausted I should be. But, you know, it was just like a mental block for me at that time because, you know, I wasn't doing it for myself. That whole lead up to that fight, you know, it was all about like me doing this for my dad, you know, trying to take the belt home for my dad and doing this and that. Like, so it wasn't for myself, you know. Once after that loss, you know, I was like, man, like the takedowns, he couldn't really take me down. I made the adjustments, you know, like from the Domingo Pilarte fight, who was taking me down pretty much almost at will, to the Miles Johns fight, who's a way better wrestler than Domingo, and he was only able to get like 2 or 3 takedowns on me, and I was able to pop back up really quick. So it was just one of those things for me that I know I made the right adjustments. I know I made the right corrections. There's a little things that I can go back in the fight and be like, I could do a little bit better in this area, not keep my back up against the fence too much, you know, cut these angles, throw more strikes, throwing combinations and everything. And I've worked on all of that, but I had to get my mind right before I did any of that, because that was a mental block for me. Like, to me, it was just more mentally, and I should have done more. I could have done more, but I just didn't do it. And to me, that was my biggest thing. Like that, like I'll say it once, I'll say it again, man. After that loss, it was a mentality change. And as you can see, 5 fights, you know, 4 of those 5, you know, all stoppages, you know, came by stoppage. So it's honestly, it's went exactly how I thought it was.
Yeah, man. So real quick, man, I want to get into it now, man. So take me into the locker room with you, man. When you're walking out that locker room, is there a certain thing that's going in through your head? Is there a certain song that you play? Are you in that mentality of murder, kill, or are you calm, cool, relaxed? Like, take us to the locker room with you every single time you're walking out.
Man, it's a lot of emotions, man. Like, to me, it's usually been like, I'm about to go into a fight. There's a lot of things that I'm that are going through my mind. I'm just thinking the whole entire time, just like I got to go in there and I got to do what I have to do. I have to go in there and not get hit, and I got to move. And then also those little those little like negative thoughts try to seep in. It's like, man, what if he catches me with a punch? And I'm just like, in my head, I was like, man, if he catches me with a punch, I'm not gonna feel it. I'm just gonna wake up, So it's like, yeah, I got to go in there and fight anyways. We're gonna go in there and have a dog fight, and then once the bell rings, man, all of it just kind of just like escapes my head, and I'm just like, let's fight. And it just escapes. But I like whenever I was in there, like in my last fight, I remember walking out and just like I remember trying to have a mean face. I remember trying to be like trying to put on this fake, just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad. Like I want to go in there. I'm gonna have a fight. But halfway through that walkout, man, I was realized, man, this is bullshit, man. I'm not mad. I'm happy. I'm happy to be here, man. This is a dream that I'm living, and it's coming true. So I was like, man, I just started smiling halfway in my walk, and I was like, man, dude, like, this is my dream. I'm here. I just got to go in here and just fight. This is what I'm doing. Like, I've worked my whole entire career to get here. Why am I not gonna let my real emotions come out? I was happy walking down, man, and stepping in that cage. It was one of those things that I just remember just stepping in that cage, seeing Bruce Buffer, seeing Herb Dean, and seeing my coaches in the UFC Reebok kit, and I was just like, man, I worked to get here, man, and I'm staying here. So I was ready to go as soon as they said fight.
Yes, man. As soon as they said fight, shit, a few minutes, few seconds out, he was seconds out, laid out on the floor like the title of the show. Man, that was so electrifying, man. That fight right there. So going into fights, do you prefer a TKO, a sub, or a 5-round war? And I see you out there, just my 2 cents. Good question.
Yeah, man. It honestly, like, for the fans, yeah, a 5-round war would be amazing. I always like, I've always wanted to put myself in that too. Like that fight with Kyle Estrada, we went to a split decision, but that fight, we went after it. He was fucking up my leg, and I was going after trying to knock him out. I was like, we're getting after it. And that's the type of fight that, like, I know the fans appreciate. Me personally, I don't like that type of fight because I look and I just see, I'm just like, man, it's like, why was I being an idiot? Why was I going in there and like taking all this unnecessary punishment? I should have just set up the knockout and just went that way, So, I prefer a TKO or a knockout, man, whichever one, man. TKO or knockout. I preferably love that more because, at the same time, for sure, if you get the knockout, you're high probability of getting a bonus, especially you got the incentive like, hey, 50Ks, 50 Gs, submissions, they're cool and everything. And that's a good way to win. I just love, putting people to sleep, and with the hands and feet.
Well, putting to sleep, you're good at in your last fight, a head kick knockout, and then in your job interview, let's say you got that job interview to get to the UFC in the Dana White Contender Series, and you're impressed with that. Was it like a 39-second KO? It was ridiculous. And then you got your shot in the UFC, and when you're sat on that stool and you've won the fight in Dana White Contender Series, we mentioned earlier what runs through your head when you're about to walk out to the cage. But when you're a lot of people haven't been in that Contender Series. So when you're sat on that stool and you're waiting for Dana White to announce the winners, what kind of runs through your head? Are you expecting the worst or are you expecting the best?
Well, man, I was trying to expect the best, man, but also at the same time, I'm always like a little bit self-conscious about myself. I'm not like, I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to be a little bit more confident in myself, which I am more now. But especially at that time, I was just like, I was like, man, everybody here is getting a contract, so it's like there's a couple people on the Contender Series who whenever I see their performances, I'm like, some of these people might not have deserved it, like if it was just like a regular any other time there was a contract given out. But I know for me, I thought I did enough, but also at the same time, I was like, everybody else is getting contracts, and they didn't get a finish or anything like that. And usually the finishers usually get the contract. So I thought in a weird way I wasn't gonna get it for some reason, but no, it was just one of those things that I was just like, man, I know I'm gonna get it. I knocked them out in 39 seconds. What more do you want? So, it was just a cool thing that, like, and also I still couldn't believe it. It was still a dream to me because I was like, fuck, I did it. Like, I'm here. I'm getting my contract. Like, dude, this is amazing.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, shit. So you got the contract. You got the 50K bonus. I remember one of my friends, Curtis Millender. He was in the UFC earlier. Now he's in Bellator. He got that same 50K bonus when he knocked out Thiago Alves. What did you spend your 50K on, or what was the first thing that you bought?
Oh, food. Food, man. Yeah, no, man. I'm trying to save my money, man. I'm trying to invest and trying to, like, I'm not trying to become one of these 30 for 30 type of guys, man. You go in there and you get money and you get paid well. So, well, you get paid well, especially if you get the 50K bonus. That's, to me, I was making, like, at the time, I wasn't making much. I wasn't making much. I was like, at least for, like, you can live off of it. I was making 30,000 a year, but dude, I easily doubled that. Like 2 years of work. I should be doing this full time. Like two years of work, I was, I barely made 60,000 in 2 years, but in 1 year, in one fight, made 70. Made 70. I was like, yeah, I need to save this. I have well more than I was already using and living off of. So. Let's not lose this. Let's start, like, putting some of this money away and start, building up and, start a business account, so you're a business now. So I was like, so I can start investing, and, I don't want to lose any of this. I got 50K. I'm holding on to it. Like my life depends on it.
Yeah. Hey, Lenny. Hey, why don't you read Josh Murphy's chat question out there from Pub Sports Radio?
Josh Murphy would like to ask, how different is it to a fight without an audience when you fought in your last fight? There wasn't an audience due to the COVID.
Man, my last fight that didn't have an audience was Kyle Estrada, and that was fun. It was really fun because, especially at the time, LFA, I was able to sell tickets. We fought in Belton, Texas, which is like about an hour and a half drive for us from Houston to Belton. So some family and everybody, like people I sold tickets to, you were able to drive out there.
Still in that ticket book, right?
Man, I every single time I fought, I was always trying to sell a lot, man. I was trying to sell like handfuls on handfuls, man, because the extra commission money, was
LFA.
amazing.
They let the fighters sell the tickets, and I remember my boy Curtis. He was fighting with LFA, same thing, man. And
yeah. So it's cooler, but it's, at the same time, still not that UFC money, but so it's pretty cool. It was cool. You got the hype going on around you, but also there's just something so like cool about fighting with no audience. And it's like you can hear everything, absolutely everything, from their corner to your corner to like people talking in the background and everything. So it's super cool. You don't get none of those guys who be like, oh, punch him in the heart type of stuff, and you don't get that anymore. So that's pretty cool. But also, man, I'm still waiting for that, like, for the audience to be there. And after that head kick knockout, that would have been super cool for me to head kick him and just hear the crowd roar. That would have been amazing.
I feel you on that one, man. My boy Boston Nick MMA from Pub Sports Radio has a question. All right, so we all remember that first day in BJJ. So I'll just explain it a little bit. He has no BJJ training. Never trained in mixed martial arts. He took some training classes, though, I think at AKA or ATT. I want to say, ATT out there in Florida. But so Adrian, this is going to be Boston Nick's first time ever going to a BJJ class, gi class, and he wants to know, Adrian, will I get tapped out in my first BJJ gi class?
Man, it depends on who you go with, man. It depends on like what type of class you get. If you're going in there and you go to a class where it's just straight rolling, more than likely you're gonna get tapped out, man. It's just inevitable. You're gonna go with a whole bunch of people, especially if you go with the blue or brown or purple or whatever, man. You're gonna get caught in trouble, man. Like, I remember my first class, and I remember like white belts were like smashing me. They only had like 3 months experience over me, and they were just like pretty much just giving me the business. And so of course it's gonna happen, but also at the same time, if you're going with somebody who's just new as you, man, I don't think that's a high probability. But hey, it all starts somewhere, so you got to go out there and just give it a shot. So it doesn't matter if you get choked out. It doesn't matter. Just don't get your arm broke. Tap. please don't get hurt.
Yeah.
So you were talking there at the start, where it all began. You said that you quit your job before your last fight, if I'm correct. Yeah. Well, if you don't mind me asking, what job did you have, and what's the difference? How good has it been not having a job?
Oh man, dude, I'm not that asshole anymore, man. I used to be that guy who would come and shut your water off if you didn't pay the bill, man.
Oh,
I was that guy. So I
damn.
hated that part of the job, man. I loved working for the people that I work for. They were really great to me. They were very, very lenient with me, man. Super lenient with me. So they were always like great. But the part that sucked about the job was fucking having to cut people's water off, man, because you feel
Man.
bad. I would feel really, really bad, man. So it's like you cut these people's water off. Some of these bills would be outrageous, but then they'd come out and you would see why they tell you their life story, and they're just like just like fuck, but I have to do this or I get fired. So, and also you kind of learn not to be so lenient at times because people will say that they'll do something and not do it. So it's just a whole bunch of stuff, man. I'm just glad I don't have to deal with that stress anymore. So that's perfect for me, man. And also me quitting gave somebody else an opportunity during these hard times, especially in COVID. So it all worked out for the best.
Yeah, man, that's one right there. I know you're loyal to your camp, Metro Boomin, out there training in Houston, Texas, and everything like that. That's actually where our show is based at, Pub Sports Radio out there in San Antonio, Texas. So if you're ever in that San Antonio, Texas area, and I know you like to bet a lot, you bet on yourself. So if you like to bet, you can use promo code Pub Sports Radio on mybookie.ag for a 50% bonus on your cash deposit. Must be a minimum of $99 and 100% bonus on Bitcoin deposit, minimum of $100. Just had to read the sponsors out real quick.
Man, I have family that live out in San Antonio, so man, I'd love to go back out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I know you're loyal to your training partners at Metro Boomin, but is there anybody out there that you'd like to train with or maybe just spar with and stuff like that?
Man, there's a couple places that I've been eyeing to want to go to, man. I definitely want to go to Thailand. Definitely want to go to Thailand to go train, especially man, there's that guy who just starts Renato Moicano. I forget his name, man, but man, just to get a little bit of insight, what that dude does, So hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Just to get a little bit of insight of what that guy does, man, because he's slick, he's good, and those are the type of like strikers that like I would like to intrigue me. So it's always good, just to be able to get that get that look. It'd be amazing, pick at his brain. That'd be amazing. And then also too, man, just try to find something like probably go to 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu or something like that in Cali. Just a lot of these guys, a lot of these wrestling camps, so it'd be cool just to get some different looks. It'd be good.
Yeah, I think you were talking about Rafael Fiziev, Tiger Muay Thai. He's a practitioner over there. I think, is it Rafael Fiziev? I'm not too sure on his second name, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, he just starched it, as you said there. Starched Renato Moicano. That was a great name to get under his belt, and he's, as you said there, absolutely beautiful when he's striking. I just remember his that little piece when he was fighting Mark Diakese, when he like kind of leans back, puts it straight into the matrix. Absolutely beautiful to watch.
Yeah, man, that's amazing, man. I look at it, I'm just like, dude, that's nuts, man. So let me pick at his brain a little bit, just so it could help me out. Like it could help me out.
Yeah, so real quick, man. I mean, we're gonna ask you a few of your fighter picks on some of the up and coming fights on this week, like the Max Holloway versus Kattar fight, the Yan versus Sterling fight, the Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier fight. But those are all secondary because this is the big fight right here that we need this prediction for, taking place March 20th. They gave him some time off right now. Adrian Yanez is stepping in to fight Combate alumni Gustavo Lopez, another guest here on Seconds Out. We got love for both fighters. So how you see this one playing out, man? It's going to be a war.
Oh man, yeah, no, I'm expecting a 3-round war. I'm expecting a hard fight. You know, he's a tough, durable fighter, and I'm super excited to be stepping across the cage from him because I know as soon as that door closes, that cage door closes, man, he ain't gonna take a step back. And I know the type of fighter I am. I ain't taking a step back. And I know for a fact, I know what he's gonna want to do once he feels my hands. He's gonna shoot him for a takedown, and that gives me a chance to show off my newly earned black belt. So I'm excited. I'm excited everywhere. Like I'm really excited. So I'm just for me right now. I'm just ready to go, man. Like I've been watching a lot of his fights, and then I'm just like, man, this gets me excited. Like he's like I've seen him get dropped and come back up and still come forward, man. He does not care. So he's a tough, gritty fighter, and yeah, and I'm honored to be stepping across from him. But man, once that cage door closes, man, we gonna duke it out. We're gonna go out there and just be in the middle and swing. And I'm not shooting. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not the one shooting. I'm planning to knock somebody out.
Got it. I mean, like I said, you're kind of like one of those MMA prediction guys. You speaking into existence. So speak on it. So how the fight's gonna go? Because usually what you say goes nowadays. Anybody can get it. How's it gonna roll out?
Oh no, 100%. The way I see it playing out in my head every single time I think about it, I watch his fights and everything. He's a little bit shorter than me. I think he's gonna have a problem getting with inside, and once time comes, I feel like I'm gonna knock him out, and I'm gonna knock him out like pretty clean. But also, I've thought that before, and I thought I was gonna knock somebody out before, and end up realizing like, hey, this dude can take a harder punch than what I thought. But if he's able to withstand my punches early, it's gonna be a 3-round war, and I'm ready for it. Like I had first round knockout, but if he's able to withstand my punches and everything, then we're ready for a 3-round war.
Hey, Lenny, speaking of a war, go ahead and ask him about the main event for this week coming on.
We mentioned it earlier. The UFC returning with an absolute banger of a fight. Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. That is a fireworks. If you just think about that fight, you just think, wow, they're going to tear up. 5-round war. But the question is, Adrian Yanez, what do you think about this fight, and who do you see taking the win?
Man, I just got done talking to my training partner about this fight earlier today, man. I look, this is such a great fight. I absolutely love this fight. I love them both. But I'm not gonna lie. I have a little bit of a bigger love for Max Holloway. If you're gonna ask me, I'm gonna be a little bit biased and say that I think Max Holloway's gonna win. But man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Calvin Kattar is one of those guys that, slick hands, slick boxing, and he gets better as the fight goes on. He gets super better as the fight goes on. Max Holloway does too. So I think it's gonna go. All 5. I'm gonna give my prediction. Say Max Holloway, by decision. Depending on what you think or anything like that, I'm gonna give him like three rounds to 2. Somebody might score one, like one fight. One of the judges might score it for Kattar, but I think it's gonna be that close of a fight where it really looks like, hey, one of these guys, it could have gone either way. But I'm gonna put my money on Max.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go, man. Like, I will say this: Kattar has excellent boxing and everything like that. Good counter puncher too. But like you said, just can't bet against Max right now. So speaking of betting too, you bet on yourself. I know you like to make bets, and I notice you like to enjoy watching the fights on Saturday night. So we have these live streams, with over about anywhere from 12,000 to 18,000 viewers throughout the whole night. Would you ever be down to join one of our streams if I drop you the link?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, 100%. I'd be down for that, 100%. Yeah, hey, that'd be fun.
Got it. That'll work. So we got your take right there. Hey, betting people out there, you heard it right here. Adrian Yanez is taking Blessed Holloway on there. So moving on down the card, what's the next fight you want to get his prediction on, Lenny?
Yes, I did actually have I was going to a little bit of a question. I was going to say, with the fights coming up this weekend, Holloway versus Kattar, I was going to say, what's your parlay? We'll go for a 3 fights. So who's your most likely to win on that fight? We'll go for that.
Man, I'd have to see the whole card, man. There's so many fights that are going on that especially like these last year, people were asking me about fights and everything. I was like, man, I don't even know who's fighting this weekend. People who I thought were fighting this weekend are not, and then there's next weekend. So I've been confused. So and I thought Max Holloway was fighting this Wednesday and everything. So man, it's all been confused in my head. But man, you had to give me the fight card.
I got it for you right here. I'm gonna pull it right back on stream so you can see it right here. Let's see here. So yeah, we like to do that because sometimes, I mean, the fighters actually pick a parlay that hits, and then we got them on record and everything like that. So you got that as the main event. Co-main event, you got Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. You got Joaquin Buckley on the card versus Alex DeCherco. Dusko Turdakovic versus Soriano. Scroll on down here. Let's see.
Who's Jocelyn Edwards fighting?
Oh, you know about Jocelyn Edwards?
Yeah, she has slick boxing. So man, I would lean towards her, especially if she's the underdog, like, and she's a big underdog. I would definitely put some money on her. She has some really good slick boxing, and she has power in her hands. So I'm like, I would put money on her. I don't know too much about this other girl, but I think if she's a flyweight coming into the bantamweight division, then yeah, she's gonna have problems with Jocelyn Edwards. I would definitely put money on Jocelyn Edwards, Carlos Condit, and Max Holloway.
There you go. That's the 3-fighter parlay. Before we end out the show, I'm gonna let you know what that would pay out to. I want to say this. I love your take because I got Edwards at plus 145 as an underdog. That was about 3 days ago. She's the favorite now. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, good thing you got her as an underdog, man. Hey man, that'd be some money made.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Besides that one right there, what about the Conor McGregor fight and Dustin Poirier? I mean, McGregor's coming back. Is Dustin Poirier gonna be able to get that revenge?
And I love Dustin Poirier, man. I absolutely love him as a fighter and everything. But I personally don't see it happening. Conor McGregor is, he's really good at placing his shots. He's really good at seeing, like, he has good vision. He's able to see everything. He has that nice little step back, and he has that nice. He comes forward. If he pressures you and you're not doing anything back, and you don't give any resistance, then he's gonna have his way with you. So to me, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, it's gonna be hard for Dustin Poirier unless he mixes it up and tries to get into some kickboxing, into some wrestling, mixes that up, changes it up like that, But I've never really seen Dustin Poirier as a good, like, takedown artist. I never really seen him, like, try to shoot. He likes to get into those wars and everything. And if he tries to get into a war with Conor, I just think that Conor has really good punch placement, and it just won't end well for him. I'll give Conor McGregor round 2 finish. I would have said round 1, but I feel Dustin Poirier will definitely be a lot smarter than he was in his first fight. His fight IQ's gotten better. But I just think Conor McGregor is still, he just has that good of a shot placement, and he sets everything up. And I just think he has really good vision. I think he gets it done in the second.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, see, that's what I like about you too. Like, what's going on in your sport. Some UFC fighters, when they come on, we ask them about names. So like, who is that guy? I'm like, okay, I understand that. Everybody doesn't know the typical name and everything, but what's going on in your sport. So I mean, that's definitely a heads up in that. And speaking of knowing what's going on, I mean, heard you say earlier about TJ Dillashaw. You kind of admired his footwork, but I know something that you don't admire that he did to the game. So how do you feel about TJ Dillashaw coming back?
Man, honestly, like, if I'm giving you my honest opinion, man, hey, just stay the fuck away, dude. Like, he went out there and just pretty much, like, took a whole bunch of, he took steroids, he took the EPO. He was out there, like, he even in an interview, this is where, like, I respect him for talking about it. I respect him for, like, talking about it, telling I think he was talking to Brett Okamoto, saying, like, I would have found, like, some type of justification of why I needed to take it and everything. so me looking at that, I respect him for actually being like, hey, like I respect him for being like, hey, I talked about it. He talked about it, and he was like, I would have came out and justified, I would have made some justification for it. But man, honestly, dude, like if you find a reason to justify it, then what have you justified it before? How many times have you actually taken it, man? And I I just don't respect it, man. You go down in a weight class, because you're trying like you go down in a weight class trying to be a bully, and talking all this smack saying you're gonna kill the 25 division and everything, and you go out there and you get starched, and come to find out you're actually taking APOs, man. I'm glad he got the 2-year ban because, dude, that he knowingly took EPO and knowingly went into the fight, on some stuff while Henry Cejudo, think what you think of him, went in there and fought clean and went out there and starched you. Like, man, dude, like I have no respect for guys who knowingly take stuff. I can feel for a person who had to take the supplement and everything, because like supplements like help you recover, help you train a little bit more, but you're out there like taking steroids, like knowing damn well that it will help you train and recover to get more reps in, but it's like to a real like level where like you can go out there and train like 4 or 5 times a day. Most of these guys would only be able to train 2 times a day, like depending on how like their body reacts and everything. So it's like, man, I have no respect for people who knowingly take stuff knowing that they're going to get a favorable advantage in that way, man. I just don't like it, man. Fuck him. I'm
Hell
sorry.
yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
Dude,
Yep.
it fires me up, especially like how he talked about that, like talked about it. Like I had like I was a real big fan of his, man. Like I was a big fan of his. Like
Me
I
too,
said,
man.
his footwork and everything. Like when he fought Henry Brown the first time, I had him picked. I picked him, and I was like, yeah, he has great footwork and everything. And then after that, he fought, and then just seeing how he's taking like the loss to Dominic Cruz. He didn't really he didn't really lose, and this EPO stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like this guy. Then I heard some other rumors about him, and it makes me really not like him. So yeah, no,
Man,
don't
speaking
like him.
about not liking him, I mean, shit. I mean, if that win over Gustavo Lopez, TJ saying that he wants to fight for the title, no, I don't think it's gonna come like that. After a win with Gustavo Lopez, Jack Attack MMA says I could see a Yanez versus Dillashaw potentially on the horizon.
Man, I'm still far away from that. He wouldn't even look at my site, man. I would call him out. Like it'd be like this. Like if I call him out here on this podcast or on this talk radio show, he'll look at it and be like, yeah, this guy one fight in the UFC. If he knocks out Gustavo Lopez, if I knock out Gustavo Lopez, he'd be like, yeah, you only have 2 fights in the UFC. Nowhere, like I'm not ranked. Like I'm not like nowhere being ranked because I just stepped into the UFC and I'm fighting, like, no disrespect, to Gustavo, but him himself is like not nowhere near like the top 20 or the top 25. We're both at the back of the heap. So we're both climbing to get at the top 25 position. So I would need some more fights to even get a look, to even be considered an opponent for TJ Dillashaw. I can only speak on what's there and and the reality of it, and that's the reality of it. I'm as much as I don't like him, I'm not there in the position to be able to fight him yet. So I can say what I want about him, but hey, that position. Somebody like Jose Aldo can go out there and do that. Like most of these guys, like Cody Garbrandt can go out there and do that. Like Marlon Moraes can do that and all that stuff. They can go out there and do that all day, but I'm not in that position.
Got it. So real quick, we're gonna run through some of the chat's questions, man, because these was just ours. We're part of Pub Sports Radio, Seconds Out. We're only 50% of it. The chat, that's the other 50% right there. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't give some love and light to them. So I'll start off with this one right here. Hey, Lenny, when I bring them up, can you read them out from Adrian and read out the person who made the comment?
He said Billy Brisbane asked Yanez, who have you got for the hottest female fighter in the UFC?
Yeah, man, I would definitely speak on it, but I know if my girlfriend sees this or anything like that, I'm getting my ass handed to, bro. No, I'm not stepping in this trap. Nope. I might have stepped into it just by even saying I would have partaken it, but I'm not going to. I will say though, what I will say is that my training partner, he got everybody Rachel Ostrovich calendar for Christmas. So yeah.
Ooh, okay. I see where you're going with it, and
he got me one. So hey, so I showed that to my girlfriend. I was like, hey, look, it's like look what my training partner got me, and she's like, oh, really, really? And I was like, yeah.
What division did you fight in, so we can kind of narrow it down, maybe?
Oh no, that's the narrow down.
Yeah. I think I got the hint. I took the hint right there. I got it. I see where we're going with it. So go ahead, Lenny. Captain Magma has a question for him. He had a few other good questions in there too, but I know he didn't want you to answer one because you know, it might be bad for him. But go ahead, ask him this one.
He says, I just want to know what a pretty chill dude thinks about the theatrics end of the business.
Like in what meaning?
Maybe how the UFC works and how it operates, maybe.
Or maybe even he had a thing on there. He was talking about people with fake beef. He said, would you ever do like a fake beef to get attention? In other words, you know,
Nah,
Mike
man.
Perry status.
Nah, man. I wouldn't do any of that, man. I'd like not honestly, no, man. It would have to be it had to be one of those things that like if they're like legitimately talking mess to me, or like even if they try to start the fake beef, like it's not how I was raised. I'm not gonna go out there and like give you something fake. You know, you're gonna get me real. You're gonna get me 100% real all the time. Like I'm not gonna go out there and like pretend to be Kobe Covington or something like that. You know, I'm not gonna do that. Like if you like legit, like you start talking mess to me, like when I see you, like hey, like like hey, like we're going at it. Like you talk about my team, my family, my coach, anybody like that, man. As soon as I see you, like you're getting slapped. You know, so like whenever Kamaru Usman and that Kobe Covington thing went off, and he talked about his former manager and all that stuff, like hey, on site, you would have been slapped, bro. You would have been slapped, you know. So I'm not like that, man. I'm not gonna create fake beef. You know, I think it's really cool. You know, when you get like two fighters who like you. This happens a lot more often. You get two fighters who respect the hell out of each other. You go in there, they get the fight of the night. Like they just go in there and just start trying to knock each other's heads off. Like and then you get those people who go in there and like and have like mad beef. They go in there and they just stare at each other for 15 minutes. Like no, man. I like I respect anybody who steps across from me. You know, you talk mess. You know, you're gonna get like slapped. You know, you can go out there and we're gonna handle it.
Nick Diaz style, right? Nick Diaz slapped up. Who did he slap? What was it? Khabib or some shit? Or I
Oh
remember.
man, yeah,
Right?
I respect it. You go out there and you slap the baddest man at 155. You know, just going out there and just doing it. Hey man, respect.
So Danny Sejo has a question. That's another member of Puff Sports Radio. Shout out to him. Would you fight in a different weight class in the future, or is 135 all yours?
Man, I'd have to see, man. I'd really have to see. I've thought about dropping to 125, especially earlier, because I remember there was a point in time where I was just steadily just losing weight, and I was actually walking around like at 39 at one point. I was actually walking around at 39, and like I was like, man, I should be fighting at flyweight. So there's of course I've thought about going down to flyweight, and then also too I've thought about eating myself up to featherweight. There's a couple fights at featherweight that would be nice. There's a couple fights at flyweight that would be really fun for me. But I just got to go to the UFC PI and see like what's manageable. Like am I even fighting at an optimal like weight that I am at now? Do I need to move up? Do I need to move down? Or am I good at just the position that I'm at right now? If anything, you know, I would probably go to flyweight just for like a couple fights because dude, like I think that guy that Figgy, man, I think he's a monster, and it would be like an absolute like blast for me to go in there, try to make the weight, and go in there and just have a fight with that guy because that guy is fucking good, and I would like to test myself against him. You know, moving up to featherweight, man, there's a couple fights who I would like to go in there and fight, but you know, 35 for me, where I'm feeling good. I feel like that's a good weight division for me, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun just to see the options.
Yep. I mean, speaking of options, Sean Jones is keeping his options open. So Trans Canada, shout out to Canada, man. We got viewers in Canada checking us out. He says, how you think John Jones is going to do at heavyweight?
Man, I honestly think he's going to do fairly well. I know there's a lot of rumors out there saying that he was beating up a whole bunch of heavyweights in his gym, you know, and I think he's going to do good. Especially if he just like I feel like when people try to move up to heavyweight, they like kind of just want to be like, oh, I need to start bulking up more and everything. You just, to me, I'm just like, well, like if I move up to featherweight, like it would be one of those things that I would like, oh, I'm gonna stay at the same weight. I'm just gonna train with heavier people, have to deal with that at the heavier stage, so I can still have my advantages of me being like the bantamweight, like moving up. Like I still have my speed, hopefully I carry my power up or anything. So speed at the heavyweight division would definitely kill it. And if he were to keep his speed and not just try to like bulk up and slow his like movement down and everything, because he's really good at everything. So it it would be like unjust for him to go out there and just like get really really bulky and kind of just limit a lot of the stuff that he's done and was able to do before. So I think he's going to be a beast at heavyweight. I just know he has to really watch out. Like to me, I think his scariest matchup is Francis Ngannou. So that's it. After that, I think he does fairly well against Stipe, but Francis Ngannou is a different animal, and he needs to watch out for that guy.
Yep. Hey, Lenny, why don't you take this question from Jimmy the Drunk out there?
Jimmy the Drunk would like to know, has everyone ever tried to test you in public because they found out you're a pro fighter?
Man, I just try not to tell people that I'm a pro fighter, man. I really don't, man. I really don't like telling people that I'm a pro fighter. Because it's not the fact that like people have tried to test me out. There's been people that like who have tried it, but they didn't know I was a pro fighter. And then like my friend be like, hey, dude, like this guy will beat you up. Like, hey, like you don't want to do it. And then they'll back off. But I just don't like to tell people I'm a pro fighter because it changes. Like I personally I like knowing who the real you is. So like if you come up to me and you're kind of being real standoffish, you're kind of being a dick, like I try to say hi, and like, hey, like, and you kind of just shrug me off to the side and all that stuff. Hey, if that's you, that's you. But once you find out I'm a pro fighter, like a lot of those people find out I'm a pro fighter, they're like, oh man, like gosh, and they start trying to ask me questions, trying to talk to me. It's like, no, dude, like you literally just like didn't try to talk to me and all that stuff. So no, go screw yourself, man. I like leave me alone. go do you somewhere else. Like I really just like want to know the real person. I don't want people to try to be like, hey, like you're a pro fighter, that's so cool, and just try to be my friend or try to be cool with me just because I'm a pro fighter. I don't like it. So I just try to stay away from that as much as possible.
Got it. So real quick, we're gonna wrap this up right now. Only got 2 more questions for you. I got one from our executive Preston right here. He's a big hip hop fan, and he lives in the H-Town area too. So it'd only be right. Growing up in H-Town, who's your favorite rapper? Doesn't have to be H-Town, but if it is, I understand. Who's your favorite rapper? Favorite rap album? And what's your favorite rap line?
Man, I won't be able to give you a rap line, but I'll definitely be able to tell you. If we're talking about Houston rappers, my favorite Houston rapper is definitely Zero. Zero and Trey the Truth. Like whenever they had the whole collab album, I think it was called "It Is What It Is" or the ABN, like ABN. My favorite song from them, that just gets me hyped is that like that song. Like I don't know how to say it, but it's like like that song.
Okay.
Like Derek Lewis walked out to it once, and I just remember being like, "Damn, that was such a good walkout song." I never would have thought of that, because I just listened to going to the gym. But I love that. I love like them. If we're talking about like Houston artists, but definitely one of my favorite artists is definitely Tech9. He follows me on Instagram, which I thought was like fucking amazing. So yeah, so I love it. Like I love all of his music and everything. I won't be able to give you a rap verse, but hey, I just love all music. Like I love a lot of music, but definitely those 3 guys: Trey the Truth, Zero, and Tech9.
Yeah, man. Trey the Truth. He's literally like the mayor of Houston. Does a lot of stuff for the people in there. I like him. I like his voice. It's really distinct. Zero too. He was an underground guy. Came out the scene. Blew up. It had his little run at it. Everything like that. Shout out to everybody out there in Houston, man. Scarface and everybody like that. Then my one and only CEO, the man who runs the company, the one who owns Pub Sports Radio in San Antonio, Texas, he always likes to ask this question. He's not on today, but he always likes to know, what's your weirdest Christmas thing that you guys do? Like Christmas, weirdest Christmas things that you guys do on Christmas.
Man, I really don't know, man. It like my favorite thing is the unwrapping the tamales, man. Like that to me is amazing. Like, you know, if I get tamales, man, I'm good. If that's the only thing I unwrap on Christmas, I'm happy. Honestly, man, it's pretty normal, man. Like it's just like, you know, having fun, having time with the family and everything. Uh, you know, no weird Christmas stuff. Like no, but on New Year's, I don't know what it is, but my family does like 12 grapes for the New Year's. You know, you eat 12 grapes on New Year's Eve, like before it hits New Year's. So I don't know. That's the only weird thing. That's the only weird thing, like for holidays. But yeah, no, it's pretty fairly normal. Everything
Got
else.
it. I just like to bring it up because it brought in some good questions. Impa Kasagni, his Christmas tradition that they do. Hey, Lenny, you remember it, right? What he does every Christmas still with his family. So Impa Kasagni, do you know or not?
I've had a lot of interviews since that. I can't remember what.
So he likes him and his family still try to find Santa Claus every Christmas. They try to they try to find Santa Claus every Christmas still as a grown man. So, you know, it's one of those questions to where, you know, I like to see what happens because I never knew I was going to get that answer out of there, though.
Shoot, man. Hey, like my family really never got into the Elf on the Shelf or none of that. Yes, Eminem. Like I listened to some Eminem, but not as much. Like his recent stuff is pretty. His like last album that he had, making music to be murdered by, was actually really good. Hey, so yeah, Boston Nick MMA, I see that. So
Okay. He plugs that album so much. So now you're co-signing it. I'll take your opinion on that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, man. I definitely like the accommodating with him and Young M.A. That was pretty good. That was really, really good.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna wrap this up right here. But before we do, man, if you could just do us a little favor, man. You know, our show's called Seconds Out. We got a little saying here. We like to say seconds out. Don't worry about them other MMA shows. Pub Sports Radio, we're the best out. If you could just, you know, emulate or just repeat something similar to like that so the people can know that you're on Seconds Out Pub Sports Radio.
Oh, man. Shoot, man. Hey, Seconds Out. Man, dude, I love being on here. One of the best. Definitely the best. But, man, it's fun, man. I really enjoyed this time, man. Seconds Out MMA, dude, love it. Thank you, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you. So right now, Lenny, do you have anything you want to say to Adrian Yanez before he goes out of here? Because I'm going to give him like 30 seconds to address everybody out there in 2021 and give everybody a positive message.
A quick prediction of your fight coming up. That's what we'll go for. A quick prediction.
Oh, man. First round KO.
You heard it here first. First round KO. You might as well bet it because I took you last time inside the distance and you won for us then. So shit, I'm looking to cash in again.
If you get this one correct, do we start to call you Mystic Yanez? Is that a thing?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It depends what you want to call me. Yeah. No, if you want to do the Yogi Yanez or something like that, if you're trying to keep that same letter first name, you know, that'd be cool, you know. But nah, I'm not creating my own nickname for me, you know. So definitely just cut that last part out.
Got you, man. Got you. So right now, man, 2021 is just now starting off. You know, 2020 is done. It's over. You know, for some people, it was a bad year. For you, shit, it was probably one of your better ones, everything like that. I want to take this time to say that Contender Series performance that you put on was heartfelt, the motivation and everything like that. I know you do a lot of this for your father and everything like that. I know he motivates you so much in your life and everything like that. So go ahead, man. The floor is yours. Let everybody know a little bit of motivation for 2021.
Hey, man, it's all about, you know, what's inside, man. What drives you, and like whatever drives you, keep using it to push you, man. No matter what, everybody's gonna tell you what you should do, but the only person that you should listen to is yourself. You know, you listen to yourself, and if you really feel like it whatever you're doing is for you, you keep pushing at it, no matter what the fuck anybody else says. Because if I would have listened to that one person who told me like, hey, not to do this, I would have been working as a welder, you know, in the plant or something, you know. So yeah, first off, fuck that guy. You know, do you follow your dream, whatever you want to do in life, man. It's all you.
Hell yeah. Well said right there, man. So we're gonna wrap this up right here, man. This was Seconds Out, the best MMA show out on Pub Sports Radio. This is where you can find all the content for everybody out there that's watching it live. Please like and subscribe. If you're watching the replay, do the same thing. Drop a comment, hit the like, get over there right now. Follow Adrian Yanez, the top prospect in UFC, knocking people out less than 30 seconds, less than a minute. You never know how he's going to do it. So until next time, when your fight's coming up in March 20th, we'll love to have you back on just so we can plug in and go over a little bit of promos for you too.
Cool, man. Thank you so much, man. Y'all have a blessed one.
Thank you, man. Thank you from us to everybody out there to Seconds Out. We'll see you guys next week, next time. Hey, it's been a good one.
Thank you very much.